As we continue to talk about finding renegades, we're going to talk today about the challenges in finding them. There are many challenges. These are things that you probably haven't thought about, but we're going to talk about them because if you can overcome them, great things can happen for you, your team, your organization. All that and more on today's Antidote.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegades Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, Tom. Happy Thursday.
Good morning, Bob. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm back in the bunker.
I see that.
It's so much easier in the bunker.
Is it?
It is. Yes.
Do you enjoy it as much?
Honestly, no, I don't. I really like being out and about. I love the people who can't figure out what the heck I'm doing.
I had that sense.
Yeah,
I had that sense that there's something about either the unknown or the publicness of it that added some value for you.
You know me pretty well.
We've only been doing 602 episodes of this show. So
it's crazy.
I would hope that I'd have some understanding of who you are.
I need my attention. What can I say?
I didn't say that.
It's true. I'm the first to admit it. I know that about me.
And you don't get a lot of that in the bunker, do you? In this setting?
No. Well, I've had times in my career where I did very public things. I was a journalist. I did public relations for a state agency where I was on TV and on the radio and in the newspaper almost every day. And then I moved into teaching more and doing jobs in offices where you're just one of the many. And I've always missed that. Why do you think I like being on a stage? I like to be in front of people. I like, this is the easiest and most comfortable and the most enjoyable part of my day, probably.
Good to know. Good to know. All right. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Antidote.
Wave 411 or TMI for those of you who don't know. It's what's real for me. I know.
It is what's real for you. Welcome to our broadcast and podcast. As we do every week, we have a conversation around a topic. This week's topic, as Bob mentioned at the start, is finding renegades. Today, we'll talk about the challenges of that. And as we go through that conversation, if you have some thoughts and ideas you'd like to share, please feel free to put them in the comments of whatever social media you happen to be watching this on, whether that is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, or
LinkedIn Live.
LinkedIn Live, Bob's favorite.
LinkedIn Live.
Because we know that it'll add value to what we have to share, just like Bob was adding value in the morning beforehand about what he enjoys and why he enjoys it. And at the end of each episode, Bob and I will offer our one thing around that topic, our today's antidote. The thing that we hope will help others find their next step, maybe today, or maybe some other time down the road, along their own unique pathway to success. So we look forward to your thoughts and ideas, as well as we hope that you will enjoy ours. And before we dive into each topic every day, we do our celebrations. Roberto, what are you celebrating today?
I'm going to let you go first. It'll make sense. Go for it.
That threw me off a little bit. Usually while you're doing yours, I have a chance to think more deeply about mine. So I am celebrating today that man, threw me for a loop there.
This is fun, people.
Well, it's just, what it is. I'm celebrating today that I'm celebrating that I'm feeling better. I'm going to put it that way.
Okay.
Nice.
Nice.
I got a good night's sleep. I have been a little kind of under the weather, oddly. And now I'm feeling better and ready to continue to get better and better and get back to the gym.
Nice, nice. I'm going to celebrate the fact that we have a Renegade Success Network member who yesterday or the day before, I'm not sure when this person sent us some information that they wanted us to look at. And it was really the kind of stuff that I think I have some expertise with. And it was nice to be able to offer my perspective on that. And I also think, and I was going to propose this to you, I think at least once a week, Tom, we should talk about what we do with people in the Renegade Success Network. Because I've had a couple of people say to me, I get that you have this network, but I don't know what you do. So in this case, it was a person who shared with us their landing page that they were building for a product or service. And I gave it a critique, suggested some wording changes, asked some questions. And then they also had a script for their, I guess, an intro video. And I shared with them some comments about that. And then something I've done with some other people over the years, I actually read the video, the script, and sent the audio file. Because what I find, had this happen to me personally yesterday, when someone else reads it, you hear it differently than the way you have it going in your head. So I read this so that this person could hear the words in a different context. And I'm not saying I'm amazing or anything. I just think these are the types of things that help us to see how things might land, to understand how things might go, and to have additional perspectives. Because I've created landing pages, and when Bob creates a landing page by himself, it's not nearly as good as when you and I work on a landing page, or when I show it to 5 people and they give feedback. So one of the things we do in the Renegade Success Network is provide feedback. It's not always right. It's just, hey, here's a perspective that you might want to just consider as you're going forward. And we don't tell the person what to do. We don't say it's bad or good. It's just, we give some alternatives off. And I know you and I both do that. So I just wanted to it was an opportunity to explain what that Renegade Success Network, how it might plug in. And we've done it for people with presentations. We've done it for people with landing pages, with email campaigns, with marketing, going out into the community. We've done that a lot with people. And I think that's one facet of it. We just don't always highlight what we do.
Fair enough. It's a good celebration.
There you go.
Have anything for our Renegades as a whole?
That was enough. I took far more time than, I think we should move on.
All right. So let's dive into finding Renegades and the challenges around finding them. Do you want to kick it off, or would you like me to?
I would be happy to kick it off.
Okay.
So I would argue that I've been a renegade throughout my career. And I think I've gone into a number of job situations as a renegade, and the organization wasn't ready for a renegade. They had a perception as they were interviewing of, we want someone who fits in the box that we've always had. We want a person that's going to sit at their desk and answer the phone. We don't want someone who says that he'll do the phones, but he'd also like to go out and find people instead of just waiting for the phone to ring. That would be, for that organization, somewhat complicated. And I think that's one of the big challenges organizations face in finding renegades is you have to be open to the possibility. And open isn't just, hey, let's put an ad together and be really diverse in what we seek. It's, are you willing to ask the questions? And are you willing to have the person, and I had someone say this to me yesterday, they were interviewing for a position, and they said they asked the same 4 questions of all the people. This person knew that. One of those questions, she said, I had to answer a certain way because I knew that's what they wanted. But that's not the way I really wanted to answer, because my answer would have been this. And it was a calculation that the organization was not going to support a person who had this position that was not that far off, but a bit different. And I think that's a real challenge here for organizations. Everyone says, well, we want to bring in all these different candidates and we want to have such diversity in our workplace and all that. But do you really? And I think until you're willing to really take that on, and one of the things I've worked with organizations on is setting rubrics. We're going to evaluate every candidate on these criteria. And one of the criteria I try to get them to add every time is, will push the organization in new directions. Because I think that's really a way to get at the renegade quality. So you've got, knowledge and experience, passion, desire to, ability to lead people, whatever. And then this last one, which is really powerful in just saying, hey, we need to give some weight to the person who's going to take us in new directions. Because if you say that you want to renegade, and most companies don't say it that way, that's how you and I would say it. But most companies say, we want someone who brings something new to the table. And I think that's one way I've found I can help organizations at least open the door to it. But it's very interesting because when you look at those rubrics, when they fill them out, the person who fits closest often gets the highest score in that category because it's the comfort level.
Sure.
Does any of that make sense to you, Tom?
It does. It does. I mean, I think there are, it's interesting. That's a little bit about the process of how you go about finding them and some of the challenges that creates. I was actually thinking in a little different direction, I think.
Go ahead.
And what popped into my head
That's why this works well.
Have you ever watched the show Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives?
Only the episode about Baltimore years ago.
Okay. So there's this guy, Guy Fieri.
I know him. He's got the blondish, out of control hair, right?
I guess if that's how you would define it, sure. And he drives a red Chevy, I think that.
I thought it was Cadillac.
Maybe it's Cadillac convertible. Anyway, it's a convertible. It's red, and I do know that. And his mission, I think, is to go out and find people who do unique things in the food world, in the most unlikely places. And I think, to me, that was a really good example of the challenges of finding renegades. Is, you're looking for something unique, something that you haven't had before, or that you haven't experienced before, you don't have knowledge of. So you really don't know where to start. And in the process of that, there is very little likelihood that you will get the results you expect because you're not sure where you're going. And so I was thinking about, as he tried to choose, okay, he's going out to small diners, places that some people would define as dives, or that are drive-ins. These kind of, it's not the big chain restaurants, it's not the well-known chefs that everyone else searches for. It's those unique places where you find unique food. And I would imagine that in that process, he got results that he didn't expect. Just like you would. If I was going out looking for something different, I'm going to walk into places and it's not going to be what I was looking for. Mm-hmm. And that's a challenge, right? Is that you're taking kind of a little bit of a risk rather than doing what's you've always done. And with risk comes opportunity, and it also comes challenges and not met expectations. And so I would imagine as he goes into some of these restaurants,
or shifting expectations, right?
Well, I don't know that you can shift them until you've had them. Is that fair?
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. That's an interesting thought.
I just think if you brought someone who we would describe as a renegade into your organization, your expectations might shift. Wow, this person's really gifted in this area. We should go in that direction. So those expectations that we thought this person was going to help us grow widget A, suddenly this person is articulate in widget B and knows all the contacts for widget B, and they start calling their buddies who want widget B, and suddenly they're flooded with widget B orders. That's a shifting expectation, right?
Yes. And sometimes maybe that's not what the organization wants. And I think that concludes one of the other challenges, although I think that's once you put renegades in place, as we're thinking about finding them, I just think that you're stepping a little bit into the unknown. And because of that, you can't always guarantee what the results are going to be because you've never done it before. And I think for a lot of people, that change is scary. And then it becomes easy to judge. You could go in and be like, well, you know what? We wanted to try something unique. We went into this place. It wasn't really our cup of tea or sandwich in the Guy Fieri case. And which means it might take longer to find those real renegades, those people who are really going to, and in the process, you could get frustrated because you have tried that method and maybe it didn't get the results you expected, or it had, or the fact that it was just different created challenges not only for you but for your organization. And I think that one of the reasons people try not to go out and find renegades is because of the risk and the unknown. And so, and I think because they feel that if we go out and get what we've always looked for, we've always gotten, we're going to get the same results. And I think that that's not always the case. I often think that if you are continuing to get what you've always got, you're going to fall behind because others are moving forward differently. And so I think that one of the challenges of even considering going out and finding renegades is that it might take longer because you don't know where to look, and the results are you're uncertain of. Even though you're always uncertain with any decision you make, I think there is some comfort level that, well, if I go out and hire someone just like the person who left, our results are going to be similar. And I'm not always sure that's the case.
You may have to kiss a few frogs to get to a prince. You know, you may very well bring someone on board that you think fits what you're looking for in this new way, and they may not be a good fit for a variety of reasons. I was talking to someone the other day who was like, we brought someone in who was a little different. After about 2 months, it just wasn't working out. And that person actually said, this isn't really a fit for me. I'm sorry. I'm going to go look elsewhere. And, you know, the person I was talking to was saying, I feel like I failed on that. And I'm like, how could you know? I give you credit for trying. And what did you learn from this experience? What can you take from this so that as you look for that next person, oh, this isn't the piece of the puzzle that we need to shift it a little bit. And I think that's the opportunity that's available with those challenges, is slowly you're going to move closer and closer to what that thing is. Or you might get lucky on the first try and just get someone who comes in. It's like, oh, wow, this is what we've always wanted. I've seen that happen in companies.
Sure.
I've seen that happen in nonprofit organizations. I've seen that happen in other groups where someone just comes in, they're catalysts for just a whole new way of thinking things. And often it's attitude. I mean, that's one of the things I find fascinating is it's not always what the person knows. It's not who they know. It's often just how they approach something. And they come in and they have this passion or this knowledge base that's deeper or different. And it alone causes like a different chemical reaction in a meeting. And you suddenly start, you just start talking about things. It's like, we've never talked about this before. And that's what the opportunity is in those challenges. You know, you called it an opportunity. I think, yes, there is a risk. I think there are huge rewards that can come if you're willing to go through the challenges. And I think the reality is, Tom, whether you're looking for renegades or you're looking for the same employee who's been in your company for the last 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, it's the same risk.
Certainly.
You have no guarantee. You interview a person for an hour, you talk to them on the phone a little bit, you check 3 references, which, by the way, are the people that the person told you to call, because why would they tell you to call the people that hate them? And then you're supposed to make this decision. I don't know very many people that talk to a person for less than 2 hours, call 3 of their friends to find out about the person, and then say, all right, let's get married for the rest of our lives. Yet that's kind of how we do it in the work world. So
Certainly. Well, yeah, and I think that's the challenge that does. And the other thing is that you're never going to find the exact same person. We're all unique. And so even though you think you may have found someone with similar knowledge, similar experience, similar perspective, it's not the same. And so they are going to come in and it will never be exactly the same as it was with the other person or the other situation or the other restaurant or the other relationship or the other group. It will always be unique because we are all unique and bring very different things to the table no matter where we are.
Hey, it worked.
Look at
Sorry.
you. You just
I was
teleport to
just
somewhere
thinking
else
there.
out of the bunker?
Yeah, I was just thinking, I'm like, this is a set background. This would work for a background. I didn't think about that. Sorry. And I just had the thought pop into my head and I was like, I've got to find this out right now.
So you just stopped paying attention to what I was talking about?
I did, in fact. Squirrel.
It's fair.
So,
All right. So,
you
Bob.
told me a couple months ago I have ADD and I didn't believe it, but now I'm starting to think I might.
Well, you never know. So, what is your one thing for today about finding renegades and the challenges?
I think it's worth it to tolerate, to expect, to power through the challenges to get to the huge potential rewards. And I think for a lot of people, it's scary. It's, as a leader, you know, when you hire someone that doesn't fit the mold, you run the risk that the organization is going to be like, Bob, that was a really bad decision. What were you thinking? But sometimes those things come out really well, and you got to be willing to take the chance, because like you said, organizations become stagnant and someone else is going to start doing the things that your organization isn't willing to do, and they're going to have a competitive advantage because of it. What's yours?
You know, I think one of the challenges, and I'm not sure I really thought about this until like literally 5 seconds ago. One of the challenges, I'm not sure renegades see themselves as renegades always. And so while you may be out looking for them, they may not realize that that is them. You know, it's interesting.
Don't go too far down that road, because that sounds like a week of program.
I won't. And I think that is a challenge, is that when we go out there searching for something unique, many people who are out there don't feel like they fit that category. I think one of the challenges that we have found with some people is they're like, well, I'm not sure I'm a renegade. I'm not sure I fit this mold that you're discussing. I'm not sure I'm ready to take these challenges that you're sharing. And I think that so often, because people are uncertain of that, they don't always respond to your outlook for it, or to your request for it. You know, and I think it's an interesting thing in the workplace when people look at a different job description, and this just as an example, because I think it clarifies it a little bit. People will look at it and say, well, I don't know that I fit that bill. And I think statistics show that women are much less likely to apply if they don't feel like they fit all of the criteria. And I would imagine that if you are putting out a request, a job description, something that is now unique, not everybody is going to say, oh yeah, that's me. They'd probably be like, yeah, I'm not sure that's who I am, because it doesn't fit the mold. You know, it doesn't fit what we expect, which is, I think, why it's interesting. You know, I'm going to go back to where I started with Guy Fieri. Is many of those restaurant owners probably don't see themselves as, I mean, they know they do something a little different, yet I'm not sure they would say, oh yeah, this is, you know, I'm a real renegade for doing this. They would just say, this is who I am. This is what's real for me. And so why are you all that interested in the fact that I make this milkshake this way, or have this challenge, or, you know, do this thing that to me seems, well, that's what we've always done. And yet from the outside, it looks very unique. And so I think one of the challenges is that there aren't necessarily people out there who are looking at themselves as unique, and how they uniquely might fit the challenge that you have put out to be addressed. What do you think of that?
That was good on the fly. I could smell the smoke. You were working hard on that one.
That was interesting. All right, everyone. If you have your one thing you'd like to share, please feel free to do it in the comments, because we know that, again, it will add value. And just like when I kind of had that moment, someone else may hear what you have to say and have a moment and be like, I just discovered a next step that I've been struggling to figure out. So we look forward to hearing your thoughts, sharing your ideas, whether you do it in the comments here or you decide to come into our Ring of Renegades Facebook group where others are trying to figure out how to find their next step along their own unique pathway to success. And if you want to take it a little bit further, as Bob mentioned a little bit in the beginning, we do have the Renegade Success Network, where we can maybe help you find that next step a little bit quicker or a little bit more effectively so that you can move forward to find your own pathway to achieve the success that you want and desire. So
I put that link in the chat. So
Okay.
if someone's looking for it, I'll put it in the show notes of the podcast. But it is renegadesuccessnetwork.com. That's renegadesuccessnetwork.com. That's renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Just go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. That was 4 times. 5 in 30 seconds is what gets people to remember.
or it pissed off. I got
But
it.
that's
Alrighty.
okay.
Why do you have to tell me again? I have that. Everyone's perspective is unique. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for being a part of our show. We look forward to seeing you inside our Ring of Renegades Facebook group or in the comment section of your favorite social media following. If not, we'll see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Eastern time for Bob's favorite show of the week.
Yes.
We'll do our discoveries of the week. So we look forward to seeing you then. Go out and have a great day, everyone.
Oh, hey. And people, while you're thinking about it, embrace the renegade in you. That's right. Embrace that renegade. Whether it's finding renegades or being a renegade, it's all you.
You know what I love about that is that kind of goes into what I was sharing as my one thing, is that when you embrace it, you are actually more willing to find those opportunities, those people who are seeking renegades like you. And it may open up a brand new
Not like me, like them.
like them. Well, not like Bob.
Right. I heard it as you, me, but I knew it wasn't me. I just wanted to be clear.
You haven't realized by now that every comment I make on the show is, yes, shared with others, and at the same time, shared with
About
you.
me?
I'll just put that in your head for a little bit just to create a little more chaos going on in there. And you might want to go back to start re-looking at backgrounds and all of that. It might make it less troublesome for you. All right, everybody, go out and make it a great day. We will see you soon.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.